So please let's start the recording if you haven't yet. And so thank you for everyone for joining us tonight, or whatever is the time zone wherever you are
in the world. Morning, evening, afternoon. Cool.
And so we would like to invite you to this contribution call that we already started. And what if you yourself alone, you can create the change in the world?
Sorry, I'm still not logged in. Just a second. It's just my computer goes all wrong.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay.
And actually, what if you really have the capacity to create a change in this whole reality? So everywhere where you function from limitations, everywhere where you give up your capacities as an infinite being, everywhere where you make yourself less than what you are, everywhere where you limit the infinite being you are, everywhere where you limit your body as something that is a burden, that is a limitation, everywhere where you are not willing to receive you as an infinite being, everywhere where you are not willing to receive each other, and everywhere you gave up to be the infinite being that you truly be and create the change that you know is required, not just possible, but you know it's required. Because you know there is a greater possibility, and for that there are certain things that are required to be done, otherwise that possibility will not be manifested, will not show up. So everywhere where you still not willing to be that contribution that you truly be, will you now destroy and uncreate all that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So being a contribution is not about you have a point of view, what goes wrong, and then you expect it, and you have a projection on that, and you want that to change. Though it's not so far from that. But the big difference is that it's not from polarity, it's not from the space I want, it's not from the space that I need this to happen, or the future needs this to happen. It's from the space of knowing what's required for the change, but there is no point of view about it. There is no polarity attached to it.
All right, sorry, I'm in finally.
Ooh, how does it get?
Oh, I'm sweating. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So actually, what if we as infinite beings, we have capacities that goes far beyond this reality? But if you can't see it, if you can't fit it into the definitions of this reality, you say, oh, it doesn't exist, or you think it's just not possible at all. So I would like to invite you to allow this capacity, allow all the capacities of you, the infinite being, to be part of your life. Not just for this call, not just for tonight, but for your whole life. And just to make it clear,
and beyond.
Your life will not end with your body's death. You as an infinite being, you are for all eternity. So even if you were not functioning from the full capacities of you, are you willing to function from that? And are you choosing to function from that? Are you choosing to be the infinite being you truly be, 24/7, day and night, non-stop? And everywhere you are not willing to be that, everywhere you cut off your capacities, everywhere you bought into, you are just one person, you are just one from the millions and billions. Therefore, you can't change something. You can't be a contribution because you are so small and so tiny and so useless because of that. And the volume really matters, or the size matters, or or the numbers really matter. So everything that brings up will you now destroy and uncreate and return back to the sender for all eternity. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So really, what is the life and the future that you desire to create, and what it is that you know is possible? So it's not about a point of view that, oh, this is disgusting, this is terrible, this looks so bad, so we need to change this. It's about knowing without judgment, without a point of view that what else is possible here. Knowing that there are greater possibilities, and there can be even greater possibilities than what I can think or what I can imagine or what I have seen. Would you allow yourself to receive and instill the possibilities from beyond this reality? What else is possible as our future, and what else is possible as the future of Earth that's beyond this reality?
And are you willing to be part of this change without any points of view, without any judgment?
Are you willing to get out from this spider web of this society, of this environment, and of the people's points of view about what will happen? Like, how much of that is just a projection and just a point of view that this is what will happen? You know, like,
it's from fear or from conclusion.
There is always a big group of people who are looking for the end of the world, and they have all the different ideas and stories and projections about how the world will end, and we have to get prepared for that. There are places in the world where there are lots of earthquakes, so every day they are prepared for the death, and they are prepared for the end of the world. There are places where there is a war. There are places where there is not enough food or not enough water for drinking. And everyone is functioning from that the end of the world will come, or the end of my life will come, and preparing for death. And not just preparing for death, but this stays constantly in our mind, in our thinking, in our space, and we keep creating that as the future. So it's a projection that creates itself. So what is the projection that we put on Earth? What are the projections that we put on our life and on our creations? It's not just Earth, but all your creations and all the projections that you put on your body, your creations, and on Earth, and all the projections that you put on each other, on other people. Because with your projection, you create that vibration and you create that as part of the future. So everywhere where we had any projections on the future, on our bodies, on our creations and each other's, will you now destroy and uncreate and revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce for all eternity? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. So everywhere where we function from each other projections, from each other judgments, everywhere where you function from the projections that were put on you, and everywhere where you even spread these projections, because these sound right, these sound so logical, these sound, yes, this is a part of this reality, and there is a high percentage, a high chance that this is going to happen in the future or in the near future. Are you willing to get out and break out from this spider web of projections and creating a fake future, creating a future that is not for, that is not really creating more for anyone? So how many of us was part of creating or bastardizing the future? Bastardizing the future is destroying the possibilities. And anything ever we did to bastardize our future, to bastardize our possibilities, our creations, our bodies, each other future and creations, and the whole Mother Earth, will you now destroy and uncreate? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And now, if you just step into your being, because the nature of the infinite being that you truly be is the continuous expansion. So you are not like a balloon that is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when it's too big, it will blow out and explode. But it's rather like looking for creating something greater, looking for what else is really possible, what else is really beyond, and what else is that we can create that really creates more for all of us, and creates more for everyone at the same time, without anyone has to suffer from that. What if you can create from this space and no one has to suffer from that creation? So there is no such thing as winners and losers of any choices. Like, I can only choose this, but if I choose this, there will be always few people who will lose with my choice. What if it doesn't work like that? What if you can create choices and make choices that creates more for you and for all the other people and for Mother Earth? Are you willing to get out from the spider web of this reality, the spider web of this environment and this society, and start to function from the energy, space, and consciousness? Actually, are you willing to function from the acoustical vibration of the infinite being that you truly be, from the space of infinite possibilities, from the space of what can we create now? If past doesn't matter, if what you have created in the past is just the past, what can you create now? What is the future that we can create? What is the future that really comes from our infinite beings? What is the future that your infinite being would be proud of? Because you really have the capacity to go beyond this reality and create the magic.
What do you choose?
And what is the contribution that you can be now? So I would like to invite you to expand out in all directions of the universe. What if, as an infinite being, you don't have such thing as time and space, but you would allow yourself to be everything that you truly be, with all the capacities, having all the information, having access to all the vibrations, all the possibilities, all the energies, all the information and knowing? So just allow yourself, your being, and your body to have access to all of that right now, and not holding back anything of that, not having any tiny part that you hold back ever again. So what contribution can you send to Earth and to our future now? With no expectations, but from the space of knowing
There is something greater is possible. And are you willing to allow the change? Change in the world, change with Mother Earth, change in your life.
The change to show up but with no expectations. You don't need to have a clear view, or you don't need to have a vision or an image about how it will show up. What if how it shows up is changing constantly, because by your choice, you open a new space where greater possibilities can show up. So you choose this greater future because you have the sense that's available. And when you standing there with your allowance, just by that, it creates an even greater possibility. So you may think a greater future means that we don't have to work, we have spaceships everywhere, and we fly to different planets and universes, and it's a totally different thing. But what if that goes far beyond and beyond and beyond and beyond? So we don't have to solidify it just because this is what you see in this very second as possibility. Would you allow this changing future? Would you allow this possibility to expand? And are you choosing to go into that expanding space and always be at the edge of this change and look beyond? And not just look beyond, but be part of the change. So if you are in this continuous expansion, in the space of looking beyond and receiving and allowing this to show up continuously, what can you create now and what contribution can you be now? Pulling in this into this reality. And what if being the contribution doesn't mean it has to take time? It doesn't mean you have to force yourself. It doesn't mean you have to, it has to be a huge effort from you. And what if you can do it right now within a second? Are you choosing that? And what if being a contribution doesn't mean you give up anything, or you lose something, or you will become less than who you are and what you are or what you have? It's not about you give away your energy or your capacities and you will be tired after that. What if that's totally the opposite? What if you choosing being a contribution allows you to expand further, allows you to step into the being that you truly be, to that space of infinite being? What if this is the key to allow you to truly choose you? That there is a greater possibility here. This is the space where we can go beyond and beyond and beyond and allow the change to show up on this planet and everywhere in the world. So everywhere where we solidified our projections of the future and of our creations, will you now destroy and uncreate? Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And what contribution can we be now? And if you are in that space of what contribution can I be now, as an infinite being, having access to all the energies, all the vibrations, all the information and knowing, and whichever way it shows up, what contribution can I be to the whole world right now? And I'm choosing to be all of that without holding back anything, wholeheartedly, in my totality. And everything that you think as, or you use the definition, what is you are, all the different ways how you imagine yourself being totally you, the infinite being. So all these definitions will you now destroy and uncreate. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. What if you just use this question like, who am I without my stories?
Who am I without my past?
Because each and every story is a solidification, and the solidification is stopping the creation, it's stopping your capacity to receive you, to see what's possible, because the whole universe and everything is continuously changing, evolving, expanding. Are you willing to receive that as it is and be the change that's required in the world? You are the only one who can choose this. And if you made any promises ever that you are not going to be the change, you are not going to be the magical being that you truly be, because all the different lifetimes you've been killed for this, or you've been punished for being you, the infinite being, or you were made wrong as a witch or a sorcerer or a magician, and you were tortured for that. So whatever is your reason to stop yourself from creating the change, from showing up as being as magical as you truly be, will you now revoke, recant, rescind, reclaim, renounce, denounce for all eternity? Right and wrong, good and bad, put and poke, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I'm choosing to be the infinite being I truly be and contribute. So be everything that's required for this change to show up.
And are you willing to be the change, the continuous change, that energy? Just receive all of that.
So everywhere we gave our powers to create the projections, to create the destruction of our future, everywhere we decided this, so therefore we can show up even greater if we can manage this. Everywhere we do it because we gave up our knowing, so we were misled. Everywhere where we're functioning from unconsciousness or from lies, will you now destroy and uncreate for all eternity? Right and wrong, good and bad, put and poke, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And just return it back to the sender with consciousness attached. And would you allow it to go back to the source from all these lies are sourced from? All these points of view, all these projections, all these lies are coming from. We just send it back to that source with consciousness attached. And as it goes back, would you allow it for this information to reach each and every member, everyone who is part of it, everyone who bought into this, allowing them to have this information that there is something greater possible, and allowing them to have that possibility and all the energy, vibration, and information that they require themselves for the change. What if the greater contribution you are, the more that you choose to be the contribution, allows you to have more and more access to all of this, allows you to be more of you. So what is the change that is possible now if you be, know, perceive, and receive the infinite being you truly be? And what is the change that is possible now if you function from the acoustical vibration of the infinite being you are? What if each and every molecules around you have the capacity to change immediately, just because you are asking that? So what change can we create if we function from the 9 Tranis capacities? Where did you buy into that you don't have that capacity anymore? Are you willing to have that? Are you willing to be the change everywhere in the world? What if you don't have to be there in order to create the change? What if you can connect to anything and create the change?
Right now.
So let's create the change right now and allow that to show up with total ease. 3, 2, 1. And just receive the space that you are in, the space that you created for this. Okay. And what else is possible now?
What else is really possible beyond this reality? Cool. So thank you. Thank you so much.
So what if the future has now much more space in it? And what if we all have more space to create the future we desire to create? And what if we were creating this future from the space of the infinite being instead of
The fear or the doubts.
Or instead of stupidity, instead of unconsciousness, instead of lack, instead of need, but create from the space of infinite possibilities? Are you choosing to have that sense of you are the infinite being and you have the capacity to create the change, and you always have the choice to choose something else, to create something else? What can we create from this space now? So thank you so much for everyone, for sharing your time.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the amazing and beautiful translators. Thank you so much.
And thank you for everything, sharing this word and for spreading the word. So we will send out the recording, and we would like to invite you that if there is a moment of doubt about your future, just feel free to listen back and feel free to share this with your beloved ones who are in that dark moments to create the change in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, and see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Gracias. Bye bye. Y termina la grabación.
Gracias.